With the 69th pick, Tennessee selected Ohio State tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere, and NPF, as I'm going to call him, played left tackle in 2021, where he struggled against top competition, but in 2020 he played right tackle and his tape was a lot better. As a run blocker, NPF is a perfect fit for Tennessee's zone-heavy scheme. He's really effective cutting off the 3 technique on the backside of wide zone, and he does a great job with his hand placement on these backside cutoffs, but he'll need to work on keeping his hips level throughout the block. I know that's something that Keith Carter really prioritizes. He can also block on the move if you want to get him downfield on pin pull or crack toss. The Titans actually ran pin pull with some decent success a few times last year, but they never went back to it down the stretch. He's a little inconsistent when it comes to securing blocks on linebackers at the second level, but when he's able to establish inside hands and lock his hips, he has the grip strength and overall balance to stay attached pretty well. He's also really effective on combo blocks, but when he's down blocking one-on-one, he doesn't generate a ton of power at the point of contact. Overall, it's really easy to see why Tennessee liked NPF as a run blocker because his strengths align with the type of stuff they like to run, and his weaknesses won't be that big of an issue in their scheme. But in pass protection, he's much more of a work in progress. For the most part, NPF was solid against the lesser competition on Ohio State's schedule, but when he faced the best pass rushers in the Big Ten, he had his worst performances. Against Michigan, Penn State, and Minnesota, where he faced Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo, Arnold Ebiketie, and Boye Mafe, NPF allowed 10 pressures and 1 sack and had a PFF pass blocking grade of 18.3 on 81 pass blocking snaps. Against every other team, NPF played 334 pass blocking snaps and allowed 10 pressures and 1 sack and had a PFF grade of 80.5. So when you watch his tape, it's a lot of really clean performances with a couple disastrous games against good competition. The first problem that stands out with NPF's pass pro is that he has a very weak anchor and he gives up a lot of ground to the bull rush. And even when it's not a straight up anchor versus power situation, he has a general lack of play strength that just has to improve for NPF to have success in the NFL. This is his most glaring weakness because it shows up at both tackle spots. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting moved back by the bull rush, but sometimes his vulnerability against power interferes with his balance and technique as he tries to overcompensate. He does have really good recovery ability because he has quick feet and he's pretty fluid resetting his base, but his lack of play strength puts him in a lot of compromising situations. He's at his best blocking outside speed rushes because his pass sets are solid, he uses his length well, and like I said, he has extremely quick feet. He rarely leans or bends his waist, and he does a good job mirroring his base to the pass rusher and cutting off the angle. And then once they get to the top of their rush and they need to flatten their angle and bend to the quarterback, NPF exploits the pass rusher's unbalanced position and puts them on the ground. So for example, Arnold Ebiketie is going to get into the backfield, but NPF does a good job with his feet and Ebiketie isn't able to penetrate the pocket. So at this point in the rush, his only hope of getting to the quarterback is to immediately flatten. NPF knows this, and once Ebiketie dips his shoulder, he presses him down with the inside hand. The main time you see NPF lose the outside is when he's worried about the bull rush or inside counter and he starts cheating in the other direction, and Aiden Hutchinson was able to take advantage of NPF's vulnerabilities to beat him inside and outside. So right here, Hutchinson's going to stutter and then double swipe to the outside, so the stutter basically freezes NPF and gets him thinking about the inside, and then Hutchinson bends around the edge with no problem. Then on the next play, Hutchinson gives the hesitation again, but this time he's going to club swim inside, and just like the last play, NPF is kind of frozen and puts up no resistance. 2 plays later, Hutchinson fakes inside and does a single arm swipe to the outside and finally gets a sack. And then on the next drive, Hutchinson fakes outside and club swims inside to pressure the quarterback. So when NPF is going up against someone with a versatile moveset and a pass rushing plan, he can get taken advantage of because he can't really defend 2 things at once. As far as hand usage, NPF does a really good job using independent hands to push defenders past the pocket. He usually starts with an inside hand strike, keeping the outside hand free as he pushes the rusher up the arc, and he's able to use this technique successfully because of how quick his feet are. He can dangle that outside hand as bait because he knows he can shuffle quickly enough to close off the path that he's providing for the pass rusher. So in my opinion, Nicholas Petit-Frere is a developmental tackle who has a lot of high-end traits to become a good pass blocker, but the play strength just has to improve. Outside of that, there aren't a ton of glaring weaknesses that would prevent him from being a day one contributor, and so if he can develop his anchor, I like NPF as a potential right tackle of the future. I'm giving this pick a C-. He was the 107th player on my big board, and while I like the idea of drafting a potential long-term answer at tackle, I would have preferred a different player with this pick. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter. Also check out my Patreon if you want to support the channel and get access to extra content. I put everything that's too short for YouTube up there.